Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Art Levine. Welcome to the Ethical Torah. Our Torah reading for this Shabbat, the last of the book of Exodus, is Vayakhel Pekudei. It contains one of the basic rules in Jewish law concerning Shabbat observance, the prohibition on kindling a flame. In addition to actions actually related to fire, the concept of not kindling a flame on Shabbat has been applied metaphorically. Rabbi Isaiah Halevi Horowitz, known as the Shiloh, born in Prague in 1558, applied the commandment to the emotion of anger. He analogized quarreling and growing angry to kindling a flame. On Shabbat, he wrote, a person should be especially careful not to grow angry or to become involved in disputes. Rabbi Eliyahu Lopian, born in Poland in 1876 and a master of the Musar, Jewish ethics movement, wrote in a list of regulations for his yeshiva that everyone should be careful not to speak angrily on Friday and Shabbos. He added that ideally a person should never feel angry. Someone who nonetheless feels angry should at least not speak out of anger. We need look no further than the beginning of the Torah to see how pernicious and destructive anger can be. Cain was angry that his offering to God was not accepted, and he killed his brother Abel. The Midrash states that it was the anger between people in the time of Noah that caused bitter fighting between them, which led to the ever-present stealing that sealed the fate of all mankind and resulted in God's destruction of all people in the world except for Noah's family. Rabbi Nachum Amsel notes that, as in Noah's time, sometimes anger that starts small can grow into something very big and dangerous, with unimaginable negative consequences. Anger can cause us to lash out with hurtful words and actions that we may well soon regret, but the damage will be long-lasting or permanent. As the Talmud explains, when one becomes rageful, God becomes of no consequence to him, and it is certain that the sins of the angry man outweighs his merits. The Talmud also records that one of the three types of people whom God loves is a person who does not get angry. The other two are those who are forgiving and those who do not get drunk. So if anger is to be avoided, is it within our ability to control it? Yes, says the Torah. God told Cain, sin crouches at the door, its urge is toward you, yet you can be its master. Rabbi Joseph Telushkin tells of a psychiatrist who told him of a patient whose wife claimed that she was incapable of controlling her temper, and who used to scream hysterically at him and even slap him. Yet she never expressed such anger in public. The patient learned that when she was screaming at him in their car, if he opened the windows, she would immediately desist for fear of being overheard. Her calmer behavior in public proved, of course, that she could control her anger if she wanted to. She was sufficiently self-aware and able to stop herself from lashing out when circumstances required. We can all imagine similar circumstances in which we would likely be able to exercise restraint despite great anger, such as if someone wielding a gun was threatening to shoot us. We were angry at the president of our employer, at someone with whom we were seeking an important favor, from whom we were seeking an important favor, or at a beloved young child. It is this self-awareness and self-control when anger flares that we can cultivate. There is a moment between the flash of rage and its manifestation in which our brain evaluates the situation and asks, need I restrain myself? With practice, we can develop the ability to take a deep breath, to count to 10, and to otherwise delay our response rather than kindling the flame, be it Shabbat or any other time. Sometimes our sudden anger is kindled as a reaction to anger expressed by others. Our candle is lit by their flame. Our tradition addresses this. When dealing with an enraged person, particularly someone angry with us, we should act as calmly as we can. Proverbs 15:1 teaches that calmness can be contagious. A gentle response pacifies wrath. A harsh word provokes anger. It's hard for someone to continue to shout if we respond gently and in an unruffled way. Whereas if we respond to shouting and accusations with more shouting and accusations, conflict is far more likely to escalate. What if we are falsely accused of wrongdoing when we feel that it is we who have been mistreated? It's natural to react in indignation, but here also the Torah provides a behavioral model. Jacob worked for 7 years for Rachel, but Laban tricked Jacob into marrying Leah. Most men would have been furious, but Jacob simply rebuked Laban and asked him his motives. Years later, Laban accused Jacob of stealing his idols. After Laban had inspected all of Jacob's possessions and did not find anything, Jacob felt that Laban had fabricated the entire accusation. But despite his anger, Jacob did not say anything that would antagonize Laban or stir up animosity and rancor. He merely defended himself against Laban's accusation and restated his own innocence. The Chafetz Chaim said that from here we learn that a person should avoid becoming involved in a dispute, even when he knows that he is in the right. The advice that our tradition offers is advice that I myself sometimes need to take. Especially after this year of pandemic lockdown, I sometimes snap an immediate angry response at my wife rather than taking the time to cool down before speaking. Toldos Yitzchak tells us that Adam's state of unconsciousness, a deep sleep, at the time of the creation of Chava, Eve, illustrates how a husband should relate to his wife. At times, a husband should act in his home as if he were asleep and unaware of his wife's shortcomings. Even if a wife forgets or disregards her husband's wishes, the husband should not grow angry and shout. He should overlook minor faults in order to avoid domestic quarrels. I haven't yet found any rabbinic writing about a wife overlooking her husband's faults, so perhaps I'll have to break new ground. The next time you get angry or are the recipient of someone else's anger, try to remember these guidelines for a calmer and more productive response to anger. Shabbat Shalom, and thanks for watching.